This program was pre-recorded.
You've entered the Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher, political analyst and socio-political prophet, and Kevin Gallagher, TV and podcast host, and opinionated jackhole. So settle in, grab a beverage. It's time to talk some politics. It's Fletch Nation. Now here are the boys.
Wiki. Hey, welcome into another Fletch Nation, coming to you from the Old School Barbecue Smokehouse here on Corsa Boulevard in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Hi, Roy.
How you doing, Kevin?
Good. As we see out the 2022 hurricane season, where I'm going to thank the Lord that it was nothing of any impact for
me too,
the state of Louisiana, and also say a prayer for those that were impacted. And if you don't mind my indulgence, just a little prayer for all the folks that were injured or had damages in the storms, the tornadoes that hit Louisiana last night.
Bad weather.
Northern Louisiana got hit pretty hard, and it was even worse in Mississippi and Arkansas. And yikes.
Well, and so goes it, huh?
Yeah. Can't predict the weather.
I'm sure it'll be global warming, climate change.
Well, yeah, of course it's climate change. Everything's about whether or not you drive an SUV. That's why you need that electric car.
That's exactly right.
Get that damned electric car, and everything will be fine.
Get that battery that you'll have to buy in about 5 years. That'll cost $30,000.
Did I ever tell you the story about my brother my brother was one of the first people in Denver, Colorado to buy an electric car. This was a while back when they first started.
A pioneer.
Yeah, and he bought an all-electric car, and he loved it because all he did was drive around Denver in it. Yeah. It's a good city car. Electric car's a good city car. Well, he'd only owned the car for he had a 6-year loan on it because it was so damned expensive.
Yep.
And he'd only owned the car about 4 years, and the battery goes dead. Takes it to the dealership, or gets it towed to the dealership, and they say, well, we can replace the battery. It's going to cost you $11,000. So he traded it in. and got a car
rather rapidly.
Yeah, got a car to burn gasoline.
Well,
I don't know why I told that story.
I think it's pretty good. Kevin, let's go today. There's a lot of stuff kind of just all coming together at one time around the world. And, I mean, a big story, I think, that the mainstream media has not covered up to this point to any great extent has been what's happening in China. With the with the various protests against the zero COVID policy of China. And basically what started this thing, the ignition switch, was the Chinese had decided, the CCP and the Chinese military had locked people down in apartments all over China, and they would literally weld the doors shut. Mm-hmm. Or they would weld the doors shut.
Imagine being in your apartment and you can't open your door to leave because someone's locked you in.
It's locked you in. And even worse, they welded you in. Think about that one. But anyway, and then some places they just use wire or whatever, but they lock the doors. You can't go out. So in one city in China, and I'm not going to even try the names. You know how bad I am with names anyway. A fire started in an apartment building.
Yeah, I saw that in the news.
And a number of people were burnt up, including a 3-year-old child. Because there was a problem when the fire started. They couldn't get out. There were some people jumping out, committing suicide, but these people burned up. And all hell broke loose in China at that point. They started talking to each other through these cell phones that we have. And these little, I forget what the program or the little attachment to the cell phone is called, so you can talk person to person.
Well, there's FaceTime on an Apple phone.
Yeah, there's something else. I forget what it's called. But so they started talking, and all of a sudden these protests started developing. Of course, at that point in time, Apple cut off that little attachment that they could talk person to person because they didn't want any protest in China. It's because, I mean, we all know that China is such a democratic and kind and decent and regime.
But more importantly, Apple needs to maintain a place to make its products cheap.
They need their labor
force.
They need their labor force. Yeah. And then at the same time all this was going on, there were pictures coming out of China, a video coming out of China, of these large encampments that were being built to house 87,000 people. Oh, same number as IRS agents. 80,000 people. And, and people were going, what are these for? And last night I actually saw lines of people at these places, and they were saying, what are these for? And everybody was guessing, and I said, well, we'll just try genocide. We've seen this before. But the point is that all of that has transpired all at the same time. And now we have a absolute, it appears, an attempt at some sort of revolution in China, some sort of rechanging of the structure of China, an effort for people to get freedom in an authoritarian state. And that at the same time, and over the COVID policy of China. And at the same time that's going on, you have Elon Musk at Twitter going, hey, we're getting rid of this disinformation or misinformation theory that we have here, and you can post whatever you want. Which means suddenly that a lot of people who had been kicked off of Twitter because they had posted that the COVID policies of the United States and the vaccines and so on and so were garbage, that was their opinion. Suddenly they're back on talking about this, and suddenly COVID as a political issue has reasserted itself in a very meaningful way worldwide. In China and Japan, there's a noted scientist there who just went off at some meeting the other day, a couple of days ago, about the vaccine itself, and saying the whole thing had been mishandled. It had the shutdowns, the close-ins, the masks. He just went off on the whole thing. So you have COVID as a serious political issue that is affecting a nation of 3 or 4 billion people, an authoritarian nation, and here we are in the United States talking about nothing. The president has said nothing about China.
We just had an election where a lot of people who were doubling down on COVID and how it was all the right thing to do, they got reelected.
They got reelected. But
none of them were right. None of them were right. Fauci, right down the line, none of them were right.
Or at least let's put it this way. They weren't right very often. And my theory is, if they were right, it was by mistake. So the point is that we have all of this going on, and we have now an administration caught literally in the crosshairs, conflicted beyond belief. Because what do we already know about this administration? We know that Hunter Biden flew with his daddy to China to do deals.
10% for the big guy.
Like ended up with $5 or $10 million deals over there. We know that Mitch McConnell, the majority leader of the Senate's wife, is deeply involved in business in China. We know that the Pelosi's are involved in investing in China. And when we come back with that lovely thought, we will finish the story.
More China.
China.
When we return with Fletch Nation.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Your favorite season is back, and now's the time you can score savings at the Team Automotive Group. You can sell your vehicle to us, and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Score VIP service and save at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
So, when we left, we were talking about China.
Yeah, well, we were talking about China, and so we have an administration that can't speak about China because they're conflicted. No question.
Compromised, I think, is a better word.
Might even be a better word. And at the same time, we have a Republican Party who's also just as compromised in many ways.
Well,
now,
you
folks,
brought up Mitch McConnell. He's got ties to China.
It's a fact. So here we are. Now here's the Western Hemisphere. We have all of this conflicting compromisation in the American government, and China just defeated Bolsonaro's in Brazil because they own Brazil.
Oh, sure.
China owns Brazil.
And a lot of South America.
Lolo, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name? Lolo? The new guy.
I'm not sure.
Oh, he's a socialist communist. Okay. I mean, he's close to Red China and so on and so forth. So we have a government now where we are worried about democracy in America. But damn, if we're worried about freedom in China, we don't care. In the Western Hemisphere, you have Trudeau in Canada. Remember the trucker strike up there and all of the stuff, and how they literally took money, they shut down people's bank accounts and so on and so on.
Draconian measures.
Yes, draconian stuff. Now he's saying, well, the Chinese have a right to speak. Well, your good people don't. Your people didn't. You shut them down. But now, even he is so hypocritical about this that it's unbelievable.
Don't get me started on that guy.
And finally, we have Apple telling Musk at Twitter, we're going to take you off the app, with the App Store. But because you're allowing people to say stuff.
Because free speech is threatened by you letting people speak freely.
Yeah, you're just wrong. But by the way, we're going to shut down free speech in China because, China, labor, cost, so on and so forth. So that's what, that's the confluence of things that have all happened in the last few days. And then, of course,
that Android phone's looking better all the time, man.
Say that again?
I said that Android phone is looking better all the time. You know what this is.
Musk has, I've got one of those. Musk has said that he is going to possibly have a Tesla phone now.
I think that'd be a great idea.
And just take the whole thing away from him, which would be a good idea. Because obviously the gatekeeper to communications in America now, to at least information.
Google, Amazon.
And Apple. Yep, absolutely.
Those three.
Facebook
also, I think, is also ran, but I mean, really, seriously, when you talk about being able to get an app on your phone, and that's power. If Apple's going to delist you from the App Store, that means unless it's on Google Play, and you got a Google phone, you're going to have to do your tweeting from your desktop.
So Apple, the gatekeeper, has decided to be Apple, the anti-free speech person in America, and the anti-free speech person in China.
Jeff Cook is the Antichrist.
But by the way, Jeff Cook said yesterday that he's going to Congress today to speak to lawmakers. You think? You think he might be going up there to speak to? Money talks. Money talks.
When he says speak to them, he means in small groups and small rooms. With the doors closed.
With no cameras.
And the shades pulled.
With no cameras. But anyway, that's the whole.
Listen,
that's the whole China thing, folks. That's what you're watching right now.
Before we leave China, I wanted to ask you one thing. We know that China could be invading Taiwan anytime.
If they so wish.
And China, I think, is in an area of desperation right now.
They are.
Unrest in their country, their economy's in bad shape.
Yep.
COVID, it kind of, we used to make jokes about China using COVID as a weapon on the rest of the world, but it's been worse for them than for anybody.
As I used to say, karma is a...
Yep. Turn around, bite you right on your butt.
Yes, indeed.
But where does that leave them? Would they go ahead and because if they invade Taiwan, effectively, they can take control of a multi-billion-dollar microchip industry.
Yeah, they could do that.
And what will sleepy Uncle Joe do if they invade Taiwan?
Well, we know this much. If it involves freedom and the Chinese people, sleepy Uncle Joe won't do anything. And he hasn't done anything. But the truth is that very few in America have.
No, we kind of just like to let China...
We have just turned our head and walked away. We don't even want to deal with it.
Yep.
Because, folks, we have spent $100 billion in the Ukraine and have depleted our weapon system in many ways, giving it to the Ukraine. And exactly what are we getting out of it, I'm not sure. But be that as it may, that's, that's a good way to say it.
Thank you.
I don't want to
Marty's doing
discuss
sign
that.
language to us.
I want to discuss that.
I'm glad there's not a camera on Marty.
Yeah, really. So anyway, that's so there's some odd things going on. One is, that little things that I like to talk about. What was this with these 5 cars getting burned up that Joe Biden was in Saturday?
You're going to have to help me out. I've been a little unplugged.
They rented 5 cars. They rented different 5 cars. Different 5 cars, but they rented 5 cars apparently to do a parade somewhere or go around Nantucket or something. I don't know exactly what. And then they turned them in, and Sunday night, I think they were all burned up in the parking lot of, I guess, the rental car company's place. It just so happened it was these 5 cars.
That's weird.
That's strange. That's strange. I don't need a commentary on it, but it's strange, isn't it?
It's indeed strange.
Yes. The next one, odd one, is what's this woman's name? Milano?
Alyssa Milano.
Please, Kevin, talk about her. I was
telling Roy during the break that we need to create a segment on this show called "Liberals Do Stupid Stuff," or just call it "Liberals Are Stupid." Here's this week's initial episode of "Liberals Are Stupid." Alyssa Milano, using Twitter still, by the way.
Yeah,
right? She's still on Twitter.
Yeah.
But she tweets just a few days ago that, well, I got rid of my Tesla, and I got a Volkswagen.
And wait a minute, before you finish the story, we got to go to break, and then we'll come back, and you get to talk about the story, because you're going to love this story.
Alyssa Milano is an idiot. More coming on Fletch Nation.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000. The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The 2022 Mazda CX-5 with iActive all-wheel drive and available turbo engine. It truly ignites the senses.
Save on your new CX-5 right now during the season of discovery at Team Mazda.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Back with Fletch Nation, Roy Fletcher right here, and I'm Kevin Gallagher. And let's pick right up where we left off. Alyssa Milano tweets the other day, all happy and triumphant and virtue signally that she got rid of her Tesla because damn that Elon Musk.
Because Elon Musk bad.
Yeah, he's as bad as the Orange Man now.
Yeah.
And she proudly proclaimed she got a Volkswagen.
A Volkswagen.
A Volkswagen, as they called it in Germany back in the late 1930s when the company was born. Tell us a little of the history of Volkswagen.
Well, you know the guy that formed it, I can't remember. I'm terrible with names. Anyway. So he came to Hitler and said, "Hey, man, I got me this car that, it's a basic car like like Ford, over there in America and being Hitler. We're
going to mass produce it. Everybody can afford one.
Oh yeah, I can understand that. No, the Americans are always kicking our butts anyway. Yeah, let's do that, and we'll finance it. The German government will help finance it, and they did.
And they took a piece of it too.
Oh, so what's that mean, Kevin?
It means Alyssa Milano basically bought now I'm not indicting Volkswagen. Now it's been 70 years since.
Yeah. But what you're indicting is the virtue signal.
The virtue signal. If you're gonna sell your Tesla because you don't like what the company or the man who owns the company represents, Volkswagen represents bankrolling the Nazi Party 70 years ago.
80, whatever it was. Just the point of that's the whole point of it.
But she,
she didn't know.
What does she know about history?
She didn't know.
She's famous. She don't have to study history.
Yeah, I mean, she's making money. I mean,
Liberals
in
say
Hollywood
stupid stuff. They really
in
do.
Hollywood. So that's another one of those really little strange things.
Yeah, here, can I throw a strange thing on the table?
Yeah.
Everybody is now, including our own Senator Bill Cassidy, everybody is up in arms over Donald Trump having dinner with Kanye West.
Oh, you mean the Bill Cassidy is not running for governor?
Yeah, the Bill Cassidy is not running for governor.
Oh, even though 7 people asked him to.
Yeah, even the Senator Cassidy who woke up and smelled the coffee. But he's upset along with a lot of other people because Donald Trump and Kanye West had dinner. And the fact that Donald Trump would even have dinner with somebody like Kanye West because he said terrible anti-Semitic things. Now, I did see a list of 5 of the top anti-Semitic things, and frankly, I viewed 4 of the 5 as anti-Semitic, but they were also kind of observant and not entirely untrue, some of the things that he said that he's getting
Look
taken
here,
fire for.
I mean, I think the animus of Kanye West is what's the problem here. I think he is anti-Semitic, and this other guy, Nick Fuentes, was
that guy's nuts.
He's trash. I mean, I don't have any use for either one. But
Trump has had dinner with a lot of trash.
Well, any president does.
Yes.
Yes. Let's
In
just
other words,
get that
as Scott
straight.
McKay said on a hayride, that's called diplomacy.
Yes.
And by the way, some of the worst people on the planet have dined at the White House with the Bidens and the Obamas.
Yes. Well, but the notion that apparently what happened was that Trump sort of got waylaid, and it was not a good. The staff did not do a good job of vetting what the hell was going on.
Yeah, I heard
here.
Trump was upset that Fuentes.
Yeah, and Trump kind of went off on all of them, and that's okay. It's over with. But you know what? In politics, you got to have Mitch McConnell come out and say that somebody that has dinner with Kanye West and Nick Fuentes will never be president. Because he's of your party. You see, folks, this really is demonstrative of something much bigger. This is a fight, so you will know. This Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell thing that's going on in Washington, D.C. is a fight between the populist of the Republican Party and the globalist of the Republican Party. And this notion that you can't talk about China is the globalist. Whereas you go to where literally the place where you see these populists talk about stuff on Twitter and that sort of thing, social media, you see them talking about it in outrage by what's happening in China. But the leadership keeps its mouth shut. Okay, now, and that's going to be the fight over the next year. Okay, let's just everybody understand that's the fight. Now, there's some more weird stuff. The Netherlands have decided to close down 3,000
Mike's not picking you up,
3,000 farms because they have got to get to zero carbon.
Yeah, carbon zero,
Yeah.
which also means food zero.
Food zero. They're going to shut down 3,000 farms. They're just taking these people's livelihoods away from them.
And the Netherlands is a country, by the way, that's about as big as Louisiana and Mississippi combined. It's not a huge country.
But it is, in terms of its production capacity in agriculture, it is almost at the top of the list in the world in terms of its capacity to produce. They don't like them using nitrogen fertilizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a carbon thing, you know? And then the other one, I thought that was odd.
3,000 farms.
3,000.
That's got to be somewhere close to a third of all the farmland.
I don't know, but the notion that a government can come in and take your farm away from you is appalling. And again, not a word said in America.
No.
Not one word.
No.
Not one word. In fact, America is in the process of selling every farm we can to China.
Guess who?
China. Okay. Now, number last one.
Number last.
Yes, on the weird stuff. Jack Smith the special counsel on Donald Trump.
Yes.
Let's look at it. Now, he prosecuted, when he was in DOJ, Bob McDonnell, who was the governor of Virginia. They convicted McDonnell. But the problem was the case went to the United States Supreme Court, and by a vote of 9-0, they threw out the convictions and said, Jack, your case sucks. Okay? That's basically what happened there. Threw it out. He was a member of the DOJ, apparently, when Lois Lerner was targeted, the IRS was targeting conservative political action committees with the Tea Party. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
His wife is a Biden donor. She's given several $1,000s to Joe Biden last time. And his wife produced a documentary for Michelle Obama. And it was also an Anti-Citizens United film. So obviously, Mr. Smith is conflicted and has a problem.
One might say compromised.
Compromised. One might say compromised.
That's twice I've gotten to say that in 1 hour.
I like that. That's good. I like that. I use the word conflicted because I'm a nice person. Kevin gets to the point.
I'm too old to be nice. I just don't care
I understand.
anymore.
I'm not a nice person. But
Time once again for another break. Let's take care of a little business. You join us back here in 3 minutes when Fletch Nation returns.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
Your favorite season is back, and now's the time you can score savings at the Team Automotive Group. You can sell your vehicle to us, and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Score VIP service and save at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Caught spiders? best services.
Fletch Nation returns, and we're so glad to have you with us, whether you're watching on one of the fine cable systems across South Louisiana or listening to us on one of the fine radio stations that carry us, like KPEL in Lafayette, let's see, WBRP, Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge, KMBS in West Monroe, and so many more.
So, Kevin,
sir,
and then, of course, the whole Dumas Baldridge group up in North Louisiana. Ted Dumas. By the way, you're talking about Milano and the Volkswagen versus the Tesla. Well, she bought the Tesla because she wanted to lower her carbon footprint.
Yes, and save the planet.
So let me give you and by the way, we just had this environmental big confab over in Egypt where they decided the United States would pay reparations, environmental reparations to the world. Could you explain to me why?
For what exactly?
Well, yeah. I mean, we seem to be just getting into reparations everywhere. So,
what did we do to the rest of the world?
Nothing.
They're doing it to themselves.
Well, let me give you you want to talk about carbon emitters? Here's the top three. China, 31% of all carbon.
Worldwide carbon?
Worldwide. 31%. A third of the carbons in the world. China.
Can I guess number two?
Yeah.
India. Was I right?
Well, it would be Asia, excluding China and India.
So Western Asia.
Yeah. Asia. Just Asia without China and India in it at 21%.
So in general, Asia accounts for nearly
45% of all carbon, 52% of all carbon emissions. And that's excluding China.
But
India. That's excluding
the
India.
U.S. needs to pay.
We put India in there.
It's okay. And then the last Chinese money.
And then the last one is Europe at 14%. That's best I can figure is 2/3. Exactly how much are we? We're so low, it's ridiculous.
Well, I've read many times that we are one of the cleanest nations.
So what we're going to do is our president has decided that we have to pay taxpayers, the American taxpayer, old Joe and Betty, have got to pay reparations to the rest of the world for
what exactly?
What? For what?
That's for money laundering purposes, Roy.
Oh, excuse me. So, anyway.
I'm sorry. That's when you say foreign aid or foreign reparations, I hear money laundering.
I'm beginning to pick up on your theme there. So one other thing that was released this week that I thought was interesting, or maybe it was late last week, was the Epstein Island visitors list. Have you seen it?
No. Now remember, visiting the island doesn't necessarily mean
that means nothing, folks.
Doesn't mean you partook of the wares.
No, that's.
But it's pretty good indicator you did.
Let's put it this way: you might have known what was going on, Mr. Al Gore, Mr. Alan Dershowitz, Mr. Alec Baldwin, Mr. Anderson Cooper, Miss Angelina Jolie.
This reads like a who's who of POS.
Mr. Barack Obama, Mr. Ben Affleck, Mr. Bernie Sanders. Why in the world? Well, I wouldn't know why Bernie went there. Mr. Bill Clinton. Well, we know why that was there.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Willis. I go Chesler Handler. Of course, that.
Chelsea Handler,
whatever hell name is. Prince Charles, Prince Andrew. Oh yeah, knocked him out too. You know, Paris Hilton, I could go down. It's just, it reads like a who's who of A-listers. Stephen Colbert, Steven Spielberg.
Why doesn't Stephen Colbert surprise me at all? That guy is a serious piece of work. Yeah.
Steven Tyler, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah,
Miley Cyrus. Lord have mercy. I don't want to be on that aisle. That's just on the list of people. That's the flight. What that is the manifest. As I appreciate it, that's the manifest.
Yeah, flight list.
Yeah, the flight list. The whole
all
list,
that means is
the
if
whole
they went
list
there.
is out there. If you go Google it, just Google Epstein's list and see what they say, and then you'll have the fact checker say, "Oh no, well no, no, I'm sure that's what's going on
But
too."
look,
but anyway, that's that.
Law of mathematics and averages, though. I mean, some of those people might have just gone to have an enjoyable weekend or week in a tropical island. But
I could have
Law of
understood
averages
that.
says some of them partook of the wares.
Let's put it this way: if you go to that island and you already knew what kind of was. I mean, there was one celebrity this week or last week who said that they knew what was going, but the law wouldn't do anything about it. I mean,
it's in international waters, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, so you, if you went there, you kind of had an idea maybe you might see something you didn't want to see, or maybe you were anyway. Beside the point. That's beside the point.
Playground of the elites.
So Kevin, one last thing I want to talk about is that this week we saw the press secretary for the president,
Karine Jean-Pierre,
yes, say that the White House was watching Twitter. They were paying very close attention to what's happening in Twitter. I'm on this because Twitter. Musk has decided to be something of an obstinate bastard, and I kind of like that.
I do like it.
He's bowed up over there, and so his program of look, I'm gonna let anybody say whatever they want to say, apparently has offended now his company. He owns it. He spent $44 billion of his money, or borrowed the money, or however he manufactured the deal. And it's his company. It's a private company. He don't sell stock in the company. It's not publicly owned. It's not publicly traded. He owns Twitter.
It's a privately owned public forum.
Now, he can decide what he wants to with respect to speech. But when the government says we're watching you, and we're going to do something to you potentially, and that was the threat of it, then the government has inserted itself into one big mess called the First Amendment.
Did they have any idea how significant that is? A White House press secretary implied that the government was threatening a
private industry, and not over the product that they make. You're polluting the air. You can't do that. No. What they were saying was, we don't like what you're allowing to be said on your space that you own.
Yep.
And your infrastructure.
We don't like you exercising your First Amendment rights.
Yeah, because remember, the First Amendment is not about private industry. It's about government intrusion into people's right to speak. Without the White House saying that, there wasn't an issue. But now that the White House said that, it is the government itself attempting to impose itself on people's right.
Does this
to
surprise
speak.
you after all the crap that they did during COVID?
None whatsoever. But at the same time, I don't want to let it go by and not speak about it.
No, we need to talk about it.
We'll be right back.
John Carmouche coming on the other side. Fletch Nation, stay there.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Roy and I are back, and we want to thank you so much for the time you spend watching or listening, as the case may be. Part of our program here for the last 6 months has been visits with John Carmouche, coastal attorney. He's a brilliant man. Roy has enjoyed having these conversations with him, and once again, here's Roy with John Carmouche.
Well, welcome back. We're with John Carmouche, a well-known coastal and environmental lawyer in Louisiana, a land lawyer. And we've been talking about sort of your past and your education and what sort of brought you to the fight for the coastal Louisiana. There's bigger issues, though, it seems, John. There's a new poll out by the New York Times over the weekend, the Siena poll, Siena College poll, that had 13% of the country in a good mood about the direction of the United States. What do you think about the direction of our country?
I think it's going in the wrong way. I mean, it's too divided, Roy. Too much politics. I grew up in a political family, but also grew up believing in the real world. And I think we've lost the touch of actually working together and putting politics aside. You can have your views, and I believe in strong conservative views myself as a Republican, but I also believe in a real world working together. I give the example that, you know, we show up at work every day. There's so many businesses in Louisiana that are huge and making a large difference in Louisiana. They show up to work every day to work together as a business. They don't show up every day to say, are you a Republican, Democrat, Independent? They show up every day, they work together, and they accomplish huge things in Louisiana. But it just seems like as soon as you turn on the political TV,
when you walk in the state capitol,
it's politics. And everybody forgets that Louisiana needs to be run like a business. And to do that, you have to work together. And I think we've lost that in this state.
I can't think of a way to get it back either. But the fact is that the point that you're making is that it's a necessity.
It's an absolute necessity. This state needs to turn in the direction of working together working together as a business to bring businesses here and to grow the economy and bring our kids back.
Well, you bring up the economy. I mean, what do you think of the general direction of Louisiana and our economy in Louisiana is right now?
It's terrible. I mean, we're in the 21st century, and we're running this state like it's 1950. It's time to change. It's time to be pro-business. It's time to bring our kids back and make them want to come back. And right now, we need dramatic change on education. We need a dramatic change on how we deal with businesses. We need to bring the oil industry back. I mean, everybody says I'm against the oil industry. I'm not against the oil industry.
We talked about that last week. I mean, you're quite the opposite, correct?
I am the opposite, because I believe in, if we zero out the liability, we can bring back...
You mean the sort of the coastal liability?
Clear the coastal liability, clean up this state, and make them want to come back. And we can bring the oil industry back. We have to make the dramatic change in the state that we've needed for a long, long time. And not just because of the oil industry.
That's one of the things that you have talked about that's so different, and that is, for right now, for the Biden administration had taken the position that the 5-year plan on offshore drilling, they're just not even going to bring it up anymore. They're not going to discuss it. On the other hand, you've taken the position, if you clean up the coast and the liability gets cleaned up, then what you want is an industry that can drill and manufacture and produce, and the liability be gone.
Not only the liability be gone, but there are great operators in the state of Louisiana today. And there are great operators that want to come here in Louisiana.
In the oil and gas industry.
In the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
And get our industry and our people back to work and do it the right way.
Yeah.
And that's the key, is do it the right way, bring them back, grow the economy with zero liability, and let's move on.
One of the things that has been discussed in the last couple of weeks, Governor Ducey of Arizona has passed what they call the most education freedom choice act in the country, where basically the money follows the student rather than going to the county or the school board or what. It follows the student. Wherever the student goes, whatever school the student decides to go to, the money follows. When you say dramatic change from Louisiana in education, that would be something that you'd want to look at, I would assume, huh?
Definitely. I mean, I have to study it, but my position on education is we have to get our kids to want to stay here. And our education, it needs a dramatic change in how we educate our kids, because our kids have to want to be educated. You can't make and force these kids to do something they don't want to do. So there's a lot of things that look at trade schools and getting these kids to be educated on the jobs we have for them in Louisiana. And
market sensitive.
Market sensitive, yeah. And make this a state where we promote working here, not promoting outside of the state.
Right.
So I think all of those programs are great programs to look at, and definitely the state of Louisiana needs a change in education.
But you would say that if you're not teaching the basics and doing the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic, you're not really accomplishing much, are you?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
That's the kind of dramatic change Louisiana needs. We have a couple of things that I kind of call it the quick round, and we'll go ahead and get into a little bit of that. You give me quick answers to questions that people ask. One is like, you say you're a Republican. What's your position like on the Second Amendment?
I'm for it, Roy.
I mean, that's pretty much says it all right there. You're for it, you know. What about immigration, illegal immigration, and that sort of thing?
I'm for building the wall. I'm for keeping them out. This is the United States of America, and as long as you legally come here, then I think you should go through the process.
I got you. So now, John, if I've taken my cue properly, we can now go to a break, and we'll be back in a moment. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
We appreciate the access to John Carmouche, and we're going to have more such conversations with John coming up in the weeks ahead on this program. As we record this is the 30th of November. It is the final day of the month.
Is it?
30 days. That's September.
My creditors may be interested in that.
We got an election coming up on the Saturday the 10th, 1 week from this Saturday, and it may be for all I know, depending on what day you're watching this, could be Saturday now. But early voting is underway as we tape this. On the ballots, and what do we know about December elections? Some of the lowest voter turnout in Louisiana history has been on December ballots. And it's really, really important that you get out and try and cast that vote, even if there's only 1 or 2 items on the ballot. Still, it's important to let your voice be known. There are 3 constitutional amendments on the December 10th ballot. And one of them is important, really important, I think, because there's a constitutional amendment that says basically, if you want to vote in Louisiana, you've got to be a legal U.S. citizen.
And prove it.
Yeah, and be able to prove that. Now, people say, well, is there a problem with this, or is this just another one of those solutions looking for a problem? Well, it's a potential problem, and it's good to put it into law to circumvent something rising up later that's going to be a problem.
Oh, by the way, the last problem looking for a solution that we had was, as the governor pointed out, was the whole transgender being in men and women's sports. It seems that that's continued on, Governor. It's apparently all over the country now. Just so, I just...
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time before it's an issue here in Louisiana.
Absolutely.
Speaking of transgenders, let's talk about the man who is in charge of the United States disposal of nuclear waste.
What? You mean the man that stole the woman's suitcase?
I'm saying man. People are going to get upset.
Okay.
The thing.
No, that's not right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. It's Sam something. But the guy is with the DOE, and he's in charge of disposal of nuclear waste for the White House.
I think he's at Defense.
He's DOD. This guy is a bald-headed dude with a mustache that likes to wear dresses and earrings and lipstick. He identifies as gender fluid, they, them, la, 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 la. Well, he got busted. And they say,
that's a fair way you did it.
They got him on tape.
Yeah. Picking up the suitcase, stealing the suitcase.
Stole a woman's suitcase, and an expensive suitcase from an airport.
To wear the clothes in the suitcase.
Because, on a federal salary, you can't afford, designer dresses.
That's right.
What's a boy going to do?
Yeah. No, what's a
they, them going to do?
Right, yeah. So,
during a break, Roy and I were talking. It's like,
wow,
this administration is more concerned with who fits what label than they are with whether or not they're competent at their job.
Yeah,
and that creates problems for America.
I'm not saying this guy's not competent at his job. I'm just saying, however, that he stole the suitcase. I mean, with all due respect,
if he's that big a nutcase in his personal life, do we really want to trust him with nuclear stuff?
Yeah, that would be kind of a question you'd want to ask, and we had the Babylon Bee kicked off of Twitter before. Musk took it over for what? Calling that the lady that's the person that's the Surgeon General,
Rachel Levine.
Yeah, Man of the Year, and they didn't
Person of the Year. Damn it! Oh well,
they didn't like it. But anyway,
well, Roy, it's been another interesting week, and we thank you for being with us. We hope you'll join us next week for Fletch Nation. Till then, bye-bye.
Listening to Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher. Remember, if you heard something that ticked you off, upset your sensibilities, or threatened your precious safe space,
the opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are purely their own and do not reflect those of this radio station or its advertisers.
So if you're calling a lawyer, planning a boycott, or a cancel campaign, forget about it and join us next week for more Fletch Nation.